everybody in the Project 3 class. How are you guys? Welcome to your Tuesday class for week 6. Before we get started, I need to tell you that next week on Thursday, we're going to have our first Zoom class, okay? Do you guys know what Zoom is? I'm going to write it on the board so you can have a look. Zoom is an application where you can have your classes for English on the internet. So we can have a normal class, but just on the computer, okay? We can talk, we can interact. This week, I'm going to send an email to your mom and dad talking about how to access the Zoom class, okay? Our Zoom classes will only be on Thursdays, okay? On Tuesdays, we're going to have, let me check. On Tuesday, we have a YouTube class like normal. On Thursday, we have a Zoom class for 40 minutes. In your email, you have the link and the password, okay? So in the next couple of days, please check your email. For mom and dad, check your email, and our Zoom classes start next Thursday, okay? So everybody, today you need to open your books to page 16. This page, 16, okay? I know we are going back in the book to review some concepts, okay? So we're talking about your family. Can you think about some vocabulary words to describe your family? Can you write this in your notebook? Different words to describe your family. After you do this, look at number 1 here. What do you think a typical family is like in your country? Okay, so in Spain, what is a typical family like? Answer these questions. I'm going to think and I'm going to answer for my country. Okay? Can you write your answers for Spain? This is not homework. It's only to do now. Okay? So you have 8 questions. Number 1, do they usually live in a house or a flat? Does it have a garden? For me, in the United Kingdom, people usually live in a house. And yes, it has a garden. And the same for America. In America, in the United States, people usually live in a house. But if you're in a big city, people live in a flat. If you live in a house, it almost always has a garden. Number 2. So for these, you write the answers for Spain, okay? I'm saying the answers for my countries, okay? You put the answers for Spain. Number 2, how many rooms has a typical home got? Well, a typical home in the United Kingdom is very different from a typical home in America. In America, houses are so big, too big, okay? Maybe in America, you'll have 14 rooms, kitchen, bathroom included, but you'll have a lot of rooms. You have an attic, a basement, a conservatory area. So you have a room that's made of glass and you can see outside. You might have 1 office or 2 offices, a reception room, lots of different rooms that are not necessary. In the UK, typically houses are smaller. In my family's house in the UK, we only have, let me think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 or 7 rooms, including the bathroom and the kitchen. So it's not very big at all. Number 3, how many children are there in the typical family? Well, I don't really know about in the UK, but in America, in the past, they used to have a lot of children. But I think like everywhere in the world. But now a normal amount is maybe 1, 2, or 3. More than 3 is not that common. Number 4, have they usually got a pet? What are typical pets? Well, for number 4, in America, a lot of people have pets, especially dogs and cats. I guess like in Spain. In the UK, people tend to have a lot of dogs. But they can also have snakes, which are typical pets, hamsters. I think typical pets in the UK are the same as here in Spain. Number 5, when do young people usually leave home? Young people in the UK and in America usually leave home to go to university or to start working when they're 18. Number 6, do people often move away from their hometown? In the UK and in America, it's really, really typical. When you're 18, you leave, okay? You go to a different city, a different town, a different country. It's really normal and it's encouraged. People want you to do this. Your family wants you to do this. When I was 18, I moved to Scotland. It's totally different to go to university, and it's just normal. I didn't think ever that I was going to stay in my town. What about 7? Do wider families, so aunts, uncles, grandparents, live near each other? Well, it depends on what your family's like. My family, no. We all live in different places. My aunt and cousins live in California. My grandparents and my other cousins and aunts live in Nebraska. My other grandparents live in Philadelphia. And me and my family live in London. Well, not me, I live in Spain. So we're all totally different. What about 8? Where do old people usually live? Old people usually live, well, it depends on the family again. Usually they live in a residential home, I guess. That's kind of sad, but that's where they live. My grandparents live in their house because they're very independent, but some people's grandparents need to live in a residential home where there's help. Okay, so here you have a text about a typical British family. Okay, so you read this and you listen to me at the same time. How is a typical British family different from one in your country? Okay, so we're going to read and you think about the differences between this family in the UK and your family in Spain. Okay, so families. My name's John and I live in a typical British family. We live in a house with a garden. It's in Bexleyheath, a suburb of London. Our house has got 3 rooms downstairs, a living room, a dining room, and a kitchen. Upstairs, there are 3 bedrooms and a bathroom. We didn't live in this house when I was born. We moved here when I was 5 years old because my parents wanted a bigger garden. 4 people live in our house. My parents, my older brother, and me. Until 2 years ago, there were 5 of us, but my older sister left home when she was 21. She still lives and works in London, but she shares a flat with 2 friends in another part of the city. It's good because when she moved out, I got her bedroom, so I don't share with my brother now. There's one other member of the family in our house too, our cat. My parents don't come from London. My dad is from Scotland, and my mum grew up in Liverpool. They both moved to London after university to get jobs. So we don't see our aunts and uncles very often, but they all live a long way from London. My mum's parents now live in Cornwall. I call them Nana and Granddad. They moved to Cornwall when Granddad retired. They've got a small house by the sea. My grandpa, my dad's dad, died a few years ago. Grandma, my dad's mum, lives in Bexleyheath, but she doesn't live with us. She lives in an old people's home, which is a residential home. So that's my family. Of course, not all families are the same. Divorce is common in Britain, so a lot of children live in a single-parent family or in a family with a step-parent and step-brothers and sisters. But we're a very typical British family. Okay, guys, perfect. What differences are there between this family from the UK and your family from Spain? Now, when you're finished, have a look at number 3A. You have a chart. Nick and Grace. Lives in, lives with, has got a pet, and grandparents. You listen to me and complete the chart. You can complete it here in your book or in your notebook. Okay? So, listen and complete the chart. All right. So, number 1, Nick. My name's Nick. I live in a flat in London. My parents are divorced. I live with my dad and my stepmother and my stepsister. I haven't got a pet, but my stepsister's got a hamster. My grandma lives in an old people's home near our flat. My other grandparents live a long way away. Okay, listen again. Nick. My name's Nick. I live in a flat in London. My parents are divorced. I live with my dad and my stepmother and my stepsister. I haven't got a pet, but my stepsister's got a hamster. My grandma lives in an old people's home near our flat. My other grandparents live a long way away. Grace. My name's Grace. I live in a house with a big garden. I live with my mom and dad and my brother and sister. We've got a dog and 2 cats. My granddad lives with us too. Listen again. My name's Grace. I live in a house with a big garden. I live with my mom and dad and my brother and sister. We've got a dog and 2 cats. My granddad lives with us too. Okay, guys. So, can you please complete the chart and then we'll go through the answers. Okay, guys. So, these are the answers for the listening. Okay, so Nick lives in a flat in London. Grace lives in a house with a garden. Nick lives with his dad, stepmother, and stepsister. So a stepmother and a stepsister are not your biological family. Maybe your mom and dad are divorced and they marry a different person. And the different person has some family. They are your stepmother or stepfather, stepsister or stepbrother, okay? And Grace lives with her mom, dad, brother, sister, and grandfather. Grandfather and granddad are the same words. Nick has got a pet. He's got no pets, but his stepsister has a hamster. Grace has got a dog and 2 cats. Got 2 cats. Grandparents. So Nick's has one grandma who lives in an old people's home, and the others live a long way away, very far away. Grace lives with her granddad. The granddad lives with them. And again, granddad and grandfather are the same. It's just another way to say grandpa. They're all the same. Okay. So guys, this is the end of your class today. Can you please do for homework only question number 1? This is homework, okay? Answering these questions in your notebook. This is the homework, number 1. Okay, perfect. So yeah, that's the end of our class for today. And you'll have another video class on Thursday. But after this, every Tuesday you have a YouTube class, and every Thursday we have a Zoom class. So tell your mom and dad to check their email, and I'll write it in Spanish so they can have a look at the information about Zoom. Okay, bye.